What's up everybody, it's Sel from Sel Joy here, and I'm back with another video. And today we're going to be reviewing a brand new plugin that has come out within the last week or so. It's available on desktop, and of course you know why we're doing this review right here, because it's on iOS and we're all about that mobilization flex right now. Okay, so we're excited that the developers have done the work, done the coding, brought this over to iOS, and it sounds great. Okay, so we're going to be doing a quick review of this, and this is the new gospel organ from none other than gospel musicians. Okay, so this is our take on one of the most popular models of the Hammond organ, which is the Hammond, I know you think I'm going to say B3. That's going to be a separate review, okay? But this is the gospel organ that is modeled after the A100. Now, the A100 is one of those models that you will find in some of the storefront churches, some of the Kojic churches. Most of them have a cabinet. It's a smaller footprint than the B3 or RT3, some of those bigger boys. So it's a more compact package, but it's got some bite, it's got some grit. The way the Leslie is tweaked and driven by the amps, it has some nice bite for gospel. So we're going to be taking a look at that. Okay, here my setup, I have two 49 key controllers. These are MIDI Axiom 49s, and I'm also using this iPad dock right here. Some of you guys may not be able to see it. I'll just bring it in the shot very briefly without disconnecting anything. Okay, it's a little dock that holds the iPad in floating position, which is great, and allows me to have easy access to the controls on the screen. I've gone ahead and as we can take a look at my screen real quick, you'll see there's lots of controls. We have vibrato control for the bottom layer, the lower layer, and the upper layer. We've of course got our vibrato controls here as I'm turning them on screen for you. And then we also have our drawbars that are mapped to our keyboard here. Okay, so we've got drawbars mapped, and this will allow us to move the drawbars MIDI with our keyboard. And there's an easy way to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to press and hold on these MIDI map controls here. And I'm just going to remove the one I have for now, just so I can map it. And as I press and hold, you're going to hit Learn MIDI CC. And this is a tap and hold and slide down on iOS. Okay, this is different from mouse strokes on a desktop. So you're going to tap and hold and simply just slide your finger on down, let go. Okay, and it'll bring up the screen to MIDI learn. Then you slide the fader that you want to attach that to, and then go ahead and hit learn right here, and it is already mapped for you. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done all of mine, and this is a quick way for you to map your controls. My Leslie switch is attached to my modulation wheel, and I've also got another layer. As you saw in the opening video, I've got some MIDI pedals that will allow me to control the bass pedals, as you can see on the screen there. So right off the bat, the UI looks like it is feature rich. Okay, so I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. Okay, really quickly. We've gone over our drawbars. Up on the top layer here, usually the percussion is assigned to the top layer. And let's pull out some drawbars, play with that. That sounds nice and crispy, and the percussion is dialing in some really nice settings that I really think is really germane to gospel music. Okay, so so you can start mapping away, and of course there should be a way for you to save your snapshot right in the controller. So next time you open things up, it should load for you, okay? Okay, so we've got the normal and the soft settings, and this is for our percussion. Okay, so it brings it a little higher there. Fast percussion, slow percussion, third percussion. That's all there, and it sounds wonderful. Yeah, I gotta say, it sounds really wonderful. Now you may ask, what about some more fine controls? So we have some volume controls over to the left. So we've got the volume of the percussion that we can adjust. If it's on right now, you can see it's gone. There's pretty high. So depending on how you want to tweak your sound, you can make that percussion really loud or soft. And of course, we haven't even gotten to the effects yet, but we'll get there. Then you've got the upper controls, the volume of the upper controls, which you can adjust there. So let's say you wanted to play some left-handed bass and you wanted to, okay, you wanted to do that. You can also increase the volume of the upper level. So let's say you're churching and you've got your upper level and you want that upper level and the bass to kind of cut through a little bit more. You can do that. Okay, so with the upper level, you can adjust that so that your upper level can cut through the mix a little bit more, depending on your style of playing. You don't always have to make the adjustments at the drawbar level. You can now assign the different levels for each tier, and I think that's really good. The lower level, same thing. Here you can adjust that. You can select the sound. Now, right now, this module is using the Apostolic A100 sample that was loaded in there. And if you take a look here, we open this up, this is the only sound that is loaded into the plugin at the moment. So this is the introductory sound that they've given us to work with. And I can tell that they're going to add more models. Okay, so I told you before, it's not a B3, this is an A100. They will probably come out with a B3, C3, some other church Hammond variants will probably be added to this as well. So no doubt we have lots of great things to look forward to. Okay, so so this is the sample that it's going to be using. You can select, it looks like it's telling us that when we get those extra sounds, you'll be able to have an A100 on the top and possibly a B3 on the bottom or a C3 on the bottom, depending on how you want to play or what you want to bring out in your track. You can be loading multiple samples, and I think that's very interesting. So we just went from having one organ to possibly several organs, or at least two organs assigned to each tier. That's pretty cool. I don't know the last time that you took two organs on the road with you, but with this app, you can do that in the future, okay? That's pretty cool. Well, let's keep going. We've gone over our Leslie controls. Over at the bottom right-hand corner, we've got our pedals that I'm moving here. And of course, I've got that mapped to a Roland EV5 pedal, expression pedal. Always recommend that you have that so that you can control your volume and really get that natural organ feel while you're playing, okay? Then we've got the key click, which is the it's almost percussive, but you can dial that up and down. Then you've also got noise. And if we were to silence the drawbars, it's almost like distortion, but it's supposed to be that analog noise from a really old organ. adds that grit to it, okay? So it's not necessarily distortion coming from the Leslie per se, but it could be distortion from some old tubes in the organ, okay? But they've dialed that in pretty well. So we just mentioned the Leslie. Where is it? How do we get to it? Well, there's two ways you can get to some of the Leslie controls, and that's by hitting the FX button. You go to effects, and we have effects that you can assign to the upper. And again, this is utilizing the Gospel Musicians IFX modules, where you have access to choruses, phasing, reverbs, distortion, EQs, amp modeling, dynamics, compressors, limiters. You can go to town in customizing your organ to have a certain feel on one level. Go to the top level, it's got a different feel. I can see all kinds of implications for this for rock, for reggae, where you need to bring in different organ sounds, things like that. So you got a tier for your upper, a tier for your lower, a tier for your bass. Now you can really drive this bass as much as you want. Really EQ it, tune it, transpose it. You can do a bunch of stuff, add some resonance to that and make it really heavy. This is probably gonna have us go into different types of pedals and different filters. Yeah, this is different kind of filters that you can dial in. I think that's really cool. It's making your bass pedals into a kind of synthesizer, which can really cut through a mix. Depending on the type of setup you're doing, you can be running bass on your pedals and it can sound amazing. Okay, it can sound authentic to organ, or it can sound like something else, you know. So consider for a minute that they're giving you so many different options here. Then the global here, we have let's see, a 3-band EQ. Looks like we got lows, highs, and mids, which you can customize for your sound. Let's say you've got a dark setting on your drawbars here. Pull out your drawbars, but it's a little too bright. Cut it back on your EQ. Okay, so cutting it back on your EQ will allow you to be able to refine your sound a little bit better. Okay, now this is great so that you can tweak your sound before it gets to front of house, or perhaps the sound man is having a hard time EQing you. You got a whole effects rack in here that you could play with to get that done in seconds. Okay, customize your sound. You've got also a fantasy verb here. Before I even get to the rotary, we got a fantasy verb here. And this will give you your room ambiance, which you can change. You can dry it out. You can even turn it off if you just want it dry. You can hear that slight decay when it's turned back on. And then you can wet it, make it as wet as you want. There it is. More room decay there. All right, so beautiful things that you can do here. Let's take a look at the Rotary. So there's several different models. Here's what they've actually done for this app. They've created the organ app, but then they've also created a separate Leslie app. And when you're in the standalone version, or even in the AUV3 version in your DAW, you can bring up the Leslie as the second half, because we know, and I think this is clever, because we know that organs aren't always a combo unit. There are certain models of organs that come with a rotary horn in the cabinet. Those are some of the smaller Hammond organs, but most of the ones that we're used to seeing have a cabinet and also a Leslie, okay? So, or some form of amplification for that. So what we want to do is now take a look at the Leslie. Now here are some of the condensed controls in the rack form. But if we were to hit the editor it's going to now open up the Leslie controls where we have some finer controls. How fast do we want that Leslie to spin? Let's take a listen. Right now it's at 103%. I've played at churches where this was the uncomfortable rate of that Leslie switch. It was at least here. It was just too fast. And I was always turning it off and trying to swell it to come back up. There's one church in particular I can think of up in the Northeast here, the tri-state area. I won't say any names. But that Leslie switch was really, really fast. Right around 109, 110 is good for me. But every organ player is different. All right, and then you've got the pitch, the angle of the horn, then you've got the balance of the horn. Let's say you want, and if you've got headphones in, you're listening in stereo right now, you can hear me moving where the top horn of the Leslie is going from left to right as I move it. Okay, why is this useful? Because in a mix, you may want to move your organ a little bit out of the way. Let's say you're plugged into front of house and you're playing with a band and you want to create a little bit of stereo imaging, maybe move your organ a little bit off to the right without having the sound man having to make those tweaks, which can actually move your entire signal over. You can move aspects of your signal over. And I think this type of fine tuning is pretty cool. I told you this organ app is very feature rich. Okay, so this is one of the things that I really like about it. So yeah, we can tweak the balance, the stereo balance of the horn and also the drum. The drum is the bottom speaker that turns and handles all of the bass frequencies. It spins at a different rate and also has some dirt. I'm hearing some dirt in there as well. Okay, and if you look in the middle of the Leslie, you'll also see a rotary noise. So not just noise from the organ, but we also have noise from the Leslie cabinet. That's amazing. So as the drum is spinning, I'll cut it off. Are you hearing this? They sampled the noise from the Leslie. Now, if you're a sound man and you've got mics on your Leslie, this is the sound that you actually have to try and filter out all of that wind noise from these spinning horns and drums. Guys, that is the sound of the gears and the belts tightening and spinning those drums and horns. That is incredible. I love that. I love that I can dial that in because for studio records, people typically want to hear these little nuances, not loud, but just in the background. You'd be like, oh yeah, that's a real organ right there. That's a real Leslie right there. They got it in here on a separate dial. I'm really impressed. And of course, you can bypass all of the Leslie switch entirely. And it sounds really tinny. And of course, like most churches, we have, like some churches, we have a third option on the Leslie. It's not just the slow chorale, or the fast, but we've also got this one in the middle called the break. I love putting it into the break and then come right out of it, right into the tremolo swell. It's usually a nice feature while you're churching. Okay, let's talk about this Leslie. So right now, my current setting is for me to have stereo mics on either side of the Leslie. For me, it improves the tremolo swell. Now, when I first open up the app, the default setting is to have it on front mono. Now, when you listen to this, if there is any critique of this app, when you listen to this, it created a type of feel on the tremolo swell that didn't feel natural, just to me. Okay, if I was to mic a real Leslie with one mic, let's say one of these mics, and it wouldn't quite it didn't seem like a natural swell. To me, it sounds a little bit more authentic than some of the combo organs that you could buy from Hammond or from Roland, the VK models that have all of the drawbars and settings. The organ swell always lacked a little bit of authenticity to me, even from organ companies that were putting out these combo units. So always on the chorale side, it felt good. It always felt good on the chorale side. It's just the swell. And to me, the stereo field sounds better. So there are different settings for the stereo. We've got the back. The slowdown is always nice. Yeah, there's well, this bass is really cutting through. Let me go back to that bass and kind of dial down some of what I had going on there. That drive is really cutting through. Yeah, so here I'm really hearing a better stereo field. Particularly when the higher drawbars are off. That's nice. When I add the highest drawbar, and now I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to this stuff. So when I listen to that, the highest drawbar, it can almost sound a little right there. It can almost sound a little artificial right there. And if I was to give any feedback to gospel musicians, dare I, it would be the swell on that highest drawbar. Right around there, it gets shaky. It feels a little bit too digitized there. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this app has some competition. Before this one came out, there was another app by IK Multimedia, and I'll review that one separately because it has a different tone, different feel, different tremolo swell that I actually fell in love with before this app came along. So I'm just comparing it, and this app certainly feels more feature rich in terms of customizing it, but I'm playing around with these stereo fields to see which ones give me the most natural swell. So I'm torn between the back, the rear, or the side. But you decide what works best for you with your particular Leslie setup, okay? Now you can also change the mix. You can go dry, mix in a little bit of Leslie. Some songs probably don't need the full mix, depending on the genre. For gospel, of course, we always like the full mix. But depending on the song, you may not necessarily want all of that in there. So you've got the horn level, the drum level, the input gain from the organ, and then of course you've got some extra controls here. Now here's the beauty. Not only can you EQ the organ, but you can also EQ the Leslie. Customization, let's go. So you can change the high pass or the low pass filter on the cabinet. Again, if you want to tweak your sound, don't want to mess with the EQ too much, but also mess with the how the cabinet sounds. You're the organist, it's your organ. Sound the way you want to sound by making your tweaks here. Play with the drum EQ, play with the horn EQ, and save your settings. Customize it and load it whenever you want. I love this. So right now I am, yes. So here you can mess with the speed of the rise of the swell. So as I was critiquing how the organ would rise in the swell to the tremolos phase, I can tell it to take longer, or have it go straight there. So the horn rise is there. See, this is why I shouldn't talk too soon, because Jamal done baked in a control to fix what I was talking about. Okay, this see y'all slick gospel musicians, y'all real slick. Okay, but yes, you can affect the speed of the tremolo. I already know I'm about to go in and customize my particular sound for how I like to play. Wow. And of course, up top, you can see that there is the ability to save the preset for your Leslie. Okay? Why is this important? Why don't I just save everything on the organ side? The reason why you may want to save this on the Leslie side is you can open up the standalone app, which I will show you here. You can go ahead and open up the standalone gospel Rotary app. And here you can make your tweaks with the speed, the motor, the drum pan, the sound of that, the horn pan, the back pan, the drum volume, horn volume, all of that, and then load your settings that you had in your presets. I love this because now, no matter what organ I am playing, whether it's a real organ, I can patch into the app via audio interface. That's slick. And the organ Rotary app is just listening for audio to come in from the actual B3, C3, RT3, A100, whatever I happen to be playing. Like, it could be an old school organ, and we know these organs many times outlast the Leslie cabinets because of all of the spinning and all of that stuff. So this is amazing. So I can replace an actual Leslie with this gospel organ Rotary app. So not only do I have a gospel organ that I can customize, and in the near future have two organs potentially, one on one tier, one on the other. Okay, and then I also have a cabinet that I can take with me anywhere. This is where the technology is. Mobilization is the way. Mobilization is the way. And I love all of the features that I am seeing here in these two apps. So this is just a shallow swim into what this app can do. I haven't even messed with all of the features yet. I am going to put up a video comparing this to the IK Multimedia B3X, the IK Multimedia B3X, because that app is also pretty killer. I've featured it on some of my videos before, so I want to do an A and B. But this gospel organ app, I'm really impressed with it. And I have a feature suggestion. I know it's early in the game, but gospel musicians, Jamal, if you're listening, I noticed there is space down in the left-hand corner. I would love to see the ability to start a shout track loop right there, or some form of click track loops. You got space right underneath the Leslie switch, and I see that you left that space open for something, so it kind of tells me something's gonna go there. And if you have a suggestion box, I would like to put in a suggestion box for that. A little shout track or click track, looper, playback, where you can adjust the tempo and dial up a few different patterns and just go to town as an organist. I think that would be really dope. That's my very brief review on this app. No doubt I'll be back with another one with little things that I found. But listen, guys, if you want something that sounds like an authentic A100, giving you that gospel sound, you want to be able to tweak your organ, tweak your cabinet, go in, consider this app. It's about to go deep, and they've just started with the A100, and I'm sure there's going to be other models added to it. So you can head over to Gospel Musicians, and also on the App Store, you can find them under Midiculous. This MIDICULOUS, just like it sounds, and you will be able to see all of their amazing apps for you guys to check out. Thank you, Gospel Musicians, and thank you to you, the creative community, for tuning in today. Now, if you're really enjoying the content and you want to get some more content, go ahead and like and subscribe, and we will come back to you with another video. Please share and share with someone in your band or in your community that wants to get deeper into music creation on something like an iPad, something with a small footprint, light, easy to carry around. It can be done, and you can sound professional doing it. All right, thank you to everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.